The Bear season 5 is the final season of the Hulu FX show. And in this final season of The Bear, we're back with our group the day after the events of season 4. And basically, the majority of this season takes place the day after, one 24-hour day, as they prepare for what they think could be their final service. Of course, back in the show are our usuals, Jeremy Allen White as Carney, who's deliberating if he will continue as a chef or move on. Sid, played by Ayo Edebiri, who's also trying to step up in case Carney has to leave the bear. Richie, of course, is once again played by Evan Moss Backrack. You have Marcus, played by Lionel Bryce. Abby Elliott as Sugar. Maddie Matheson as Fack. You have Lisa Gonzalez as Tina. Edwin Lee Gibson as Ibrahim. Oliver Platt as Uncle Jimmy as the main characters. We also have across some other cameos, of course, from other seasons. The show this season is 8 episodes long. The shortest episode is 22 minutes. That's the first episode of the season. And the final episode of the show is the longest of the season at 1 hour and 1 minute. So welcome back, everyone, to a brand new TV show review here on Max Talks Movies. My name is Max, and we're talking the final season of The Bear. And before I get into this review, I know I'm like 3 weeks late to this review, but I have been just busy, and I really wanted to get this review out, so I'm very happy to be doing that today. Also want to let you guys know my first spoiler review that is exclusively going to Patreon, either Monday or Tuesday, will be my full spoiler review of The Bear Season 5. So if you've not seen The Bear Season 5, you've been waiting to hear my opinion, I guess, on the show before you go watch it. This is going to be a full non-spoiler review. I'm not going to hint as spoilers here in my Patreon. If you want to subscribe to my Patreon at that first $7, $8 tier, that's when you can get my exclusive spoiler review of The Bear. Would really appreciate it. So The Bear for me has been at times one of the best television shows of the last decade, and also at times a very frustrating watch. The first 2 seasons are pretty perfect in my opinion. They're really special seasons of television. And I do think then the show has kind of been rocky, where I thought season 3 was pretty mediocre. It kind of became a completely different show where the first 2 seasons were anxiety, focusing it in the kitchen and yelling and cursing and manic and chaotic. And then season 3 went in the complete opposite direction. A lot of characters getting their own episodes, a lot of just monologuing for monologuing's sake. And we kind of lost the intensity that was the first 2 seasons. Now, while I think season 4 was definitely a dramatic improvement over season 3, it was not like the bear is back in this impactful way where we feel like we're back to where we were in those first 2 seasons. So that's where I was going into this final season. And I have to say, I really loved this season of The Bear. I think it's definitely better than seasons 3 and 4. And we've seen a lot of the most popular shows of my lifetime wrap up over the last year. And a lot of them have simply not stuck the landing. I think a lot of most popular shows of the last 5 to 10 years have just really struggled ending on satisfying notes. And it's always really hard to do, knowing when the show needs to end. And this is a show that definitely felt like it was time to start wrapping things up. A lot of the actors are now doing much bigger things and become much busier, especially if you look at Jeremy Allen White, Lionel Boyce, Ayo Edebiri, Evan Moss Backrack. They're in a billion things now. They don't really have time to really focus on the show moving forward, so it made sense to start wrapping things up. And I also think from a story perspective, there really wasn't much else to go other than what we got here, which I thought was honestly, in my opinion, a genius idea. That we had that dramatic ending to season 4, and now it leads, them being on the clock last season. And now, even though we're not technically on a clock in story this season, the first 7 of the 8 episodes takes place for this one service. 24 hours is a huge storm in Chicago. And I really felt the intensity in this season. Sure, it doesn't hit the chaotic, manic highs that were the first 2 seasons, no. But I was simply wrapped into them getting through this service, executing it, and also not knowing what would happen to all these characters after the service was going to end. If they could make it through service, and if they did, what would happen on the other side of the service? And you really feel that nostalgia, those chills, those emotions that you want to feel when a show is wrapping up. What this show has done an amazing job of, led by Chris Storer, the creator, the showrunner, who also directs the majority of the episodes this season, is at least in my opinion, I truly have fallen in love with all of these characters, especially the characters who work in the restaurant. And the show doesn't just have characters you love, you have different dynamics. Like, obviously, I love Sid with Carney, but also Sid and Cousin is a really great dynamic. And Sid and Marcus have a really cute dynamic. And Sid and Sugar at times as well have a really unique dynamic. The show just doesn't have just characters you like. You like duos, trios, dynamics that you love. And I just found myself relating to this season, honestly, more than any other season of the show. Sid play Io Debris is just mesmerizing, I think, in this season because, at least in my opinion, I feel the most relatable to her and the way that she handles things. She's a very totally different person from Carney. And that's really why she's like the glue to the bear. And she's not trying to yell at people. She wants to get her work done. She wants everyone to be working at their hardest and at their best, but she tries to inspire people in different ways than Carney does. And I think Jeremy Allen White might go under the radar because, again, his acting from like a chaos perspective is at like a 15 in those first two seasons. He's a lot calmer in these last couple seasons, but especially in the final two episodes of the show. It might be, from his acting, the best work of his career in these final two episodes of The Bear. Evan Moss-Bachrach is electric once again. He really might be the MVP of the show. His character, more than any, has truly evolved from the first time we saw him until now. Where he is in life, the fact that him and Carney, played by Jeremy White, were just not on the same page when the show started, and here they are trying to get on the same page. His family, his temper, he has come such a long way, and Evan Moss-Bachrach is just, again, fantastic and electrifying, I would say, in the show. I was never bored throughout this season. Some episodes are like 20 minutes, some are like 45 to an hour. But I was never bored. I was on the edge of my seat, rooting for all of these characters to get into situations they were happy with. And I became very emotional and emotionally satisfied by the ending. The first six episodes, I would say, are solid. They're not like unbelievable, but they're solid. The last two episodes of the show are just amazing and absolutely deliver if you are a big fan, have been on this journey over the last five seasons. Really well directed. The writing is on point, and of course, the performances are just great. That you care so much. And I have never been emotional with this show, but I ended up tearing up in one particular scene in one of the final two episodes, and it was really a moving scene. So I think there's going to be a lot of that for people as well. Now, as I said, the first four episodes in particular didn't really feel like they needed to be 20 minutes. They kind of felt like they all could have been one hour episode, because the first four episodes, they kind of end in weird places that don't make you go like, oh, let me just click on the next episode right now. They just feel like those episodes end abruptly, and I think there could have been a better way to lead you into the next episode. You kind of have the rhythm of this needs to happen in order for the episode to end. And it kind of got, in my opinion, very predictable, and was not totally for me. I do think, from like a story perspective, the one missing thing is the inclusion of Molly Gordon's character in the season. She really isn't there in the, and again, it is the day after what happened at the end of season four. But I do think that is a key story element that I thought they could have added more to in this season. It's kind of like the unspoken thing to not talk to Carney about it in story, but I was kind of like, let's deal with this story face on, but we really didn't in this season. But other than that, I thought this was a really emotionally satisfying ending that felt like a high to end the show, not a mixed bag, which I think the last two seasons of this show has felt like. So overall, I'm giving The Bear season 5 a 4.5 out of 5. I am going 88% for the new season of The Bear. Let me know your thoughts on the season down in the comments. Like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you want my full spoiler thoughts on The Bear season 5, subscribe to my Patreon as well. Thank you guys.